Hello, SEAL community. How's it going? Super excited to play this match with you. It's going to be from our Noxian division teams. Imagine Shadows versus Sloppy Steaks. I am the Dragon Rider. I'll be your play-by-play caster today. And joining me today is actually a new caster, Fozzie Bear. How's it going, buddy? How you feeling?
I'm feeling good. I'm feeling a little nervous, but I'm really excited to get into this. Happy to give back to our wonderful little community here and get some more game streams. So
Yeah, sounds super exciting. And what a great match for you today to cast as well. This is our Week 7 Noxian match. And so these two teams are going to be fighting for the first seed right before playoffs. So it's do or die for both these teams.
there's no time like do or die season, and one of my favorite divisions is Noxus. I call it it's bloodbath.
Oh, yeah.
Every time we're down here, I've actually been watching quite a few of these when they're casted, and they're always interesting. There's always a feeling of, you're never sure what's about to happen, because I feel like a lot of the players here, have actually a really high mechanical skill. It's just sometimes they won't be as coordinated or kind of do things that we might think of as the right play at the time.
Yeah, casting for these matches here, I've seen like a lot of Noxian divisions. Just like it's just an utter bloodbath. I think we had a match last week or over the weekend. There was like 2.5 kills a minute, and it was just insanity, constant like battles, and that's what I love about it. Just like you said before. But with that being said, let's actually transition to our picks and bans here. So on the blue side, we have Sloppy Steaks, and on the red side, we have Imagine Shadows here. And just going off of what these two teams are building, it looks like they were going to be trying to ban out the jungler and mid laner for Sloppy Steaks. Reese's jungling is pretty good, and so taking away his main Shaco is a very obvious choice. He likes invisible champions, so they also take away the Evelyn. He's been playing that like mad this season. So good bans from Sloppy Steaks. And then on the turn side, we have Imagine Shadows with Lulu, Yone, and Vex. So support ban with two mid lane bans. So obviously mid lane focused. So Redemption should be a person to watch for Sloppy Steaks. And then Reese's jungling should be someone we should watch out for. Fuzi, how does it feel like? How do you feel about these two teams and what they've drafted here?
Well, I think first of all, we've all been in those nightmare games where a Shaco comes out, one shots you, where Evelyn comes out and one shots you. So those are just great bands always. Looking at these comps though, I mean they're very interesting. Looking at Sloppy Steaks, I have to feel like this is something I would hate to play against. Soraka in the bot lane, I feel like is a little undervalued for how strong it is right now. Um, Despite being a healing champion, I feel like you can play it aggressively in certain matchups, and just being able to take trade after trade and coming out on top. You don't even have to take good trades, and you just heal back up. It's horrifying. Anytime you see Viger, it's a nightmare. So you have to make calls around when his cage is up, when it's down, and this is all just compounded with a Zac flopping around on your face.
Yeah.
So I definitely love Sloppy Steaks comp. On the other side, though, I think Imagine Shadow has something very strong as well. I mean, Malzahar is always just a great answer to anything that wants to come up in his space. I think Jin is very good right now. In fact, I would say Jin Thresh wins this 2v2 based on how it's played. There's a lot to see in the actual matchup. And then Yorick is always just a force to be reckoned with. No matter what's going on in the rest of the map, Yorick can be knocking down your door, busting in, FBI open up. So it's definitely, it could go either way here. I really like both comps.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, like the early game, like for Double Shank to be ganking for Sparta would be perfect. As for Renekton's one of the best top laners to gank for, alongside with the Camille. With Zac, that top laner is going to be crying if it's pulled off successfully here. But in the meantime, you have Reese on a Hecarim, which is a very high tier jungler, which could clear faster and gank maybe even possibly more for his team. So they're probably definitely going to be more of a bot focused team on the side of Imagine Shadows. Well, on the side of Sloppy Steaks, I think they're going to be a lot more top focused and solo lane focused, and see how they go.
I think those are really great points. I mean, both junglers are huge to watch out for in this early game because I feel like Viger versus Malzahar is kind of like a stalemate. Like I said, the 2v2 bottom is kind of, we'll see how they play it, but it's very volatile with ganks. And yeah, Hecarim wants to run around the map, just get as much done, get a huge lead so that when we transition to these team fights, that onslaught of shadows is just devastating. And Zac definitely has an early ganking power that just increases with rank in his slingshot. But he definitely needs to survive a little bit longer to transition to these team fights where he's just disrupting.
For sure.
I definitely think, yeah, this double Shank versus Reese matchup is going to be very big to watch. If everything else kind of goes even until then.
Yeah, and with that being said, we should jump into our first match here, And so we'll be back momentarily, and we'll see you guys on the Rift. Alrighty, guys, we are back into game one versus Sloppy Steaks versus Imagine Shadows. Judging from both teams, I don't expect a level one. Fozzie Bear, what are your predictions? Do you think we're going to get some level one shenanigans or just a typical 5 point?
Oh, I love to see the shenanigans. My feeling is on the blue side for sloppy steaks, we just want a 5 point. We know we have a very strong kind of scaling team. We don't have a great level one. And neither really does Imagine Shadow, but you have to think sometimes if a Thresh is really feeling it, as we can kind of see there, looking for something. Yeah?
Oh, for
Thresh
sure.
definitely has the ability to make something happen early. And while Jin, doesn't do an insane level one, if he gets his 4 shots off in that 4th shot, that can be a kill. So it's
Hmm.
definitely a little spooky. We'll have to watch them. They're getting ready.
Lots of pings dropping out for enemy vision there. They know of Renekton's existence. Things to know about as well is Legos is actually a really good Thresh player. I've seen him play it in the past, and he plays it at a very high elo standard. So letting him have this pick is actually pretty interesting to me. They were more focused, I guess, on jungler picks here and really helping their mid laner out.
You have to make some choices in champ select, and so sometimes you deny the invisible champs, but you give up the hook champ.
Hmm.
So we'll see how that kind of plays out. Of course, that was the Thresh was one of the first picks
Hmm.
from Imagine Shadow, so they definitely put high priority on it.
Ooh, they're going in level 1 to get a nice hook onto Soraka, getting a lot of damage off, looking for the 4th shot, and that's gonna basically take her out of lane. That's an excellent trade for Imagine Shadows.
Call me a prophet. What did I say? So level 1, if the Thresh gets that hook and the 4th shot from Jin does massive damage. Big to note, Thresh did not drop the ignite, which may have made the difference.
And it would have stopped I don't... What did Soraka start level 1? Q? I wasn't checking. Oh yeah, it was Q. There it is. But Hook coming out. Oh, this might be Thresh's demise. Heal going down as well. First blood over to Sivir. Going up towards the Thresh. Going to see if they can get a little bit more off of that. But a little bit of an overextension from Thresh has led to a little bit, I guess, cockiness into thinking that he was going to be able to take out the Sivir faster than she could take him out with the Soraka.
The skill check trade was there.
Hmm.
Legos walked up and said, do you have the chops? And Goomball said, yep, I got it. So he checked him and he stood tall with that spell shield, and that's huge to kind of deny this incredible aggression that can come out of this lane early. Soraka needs a few levels to get that annoying trade pattern of poke, trade, and heal.
Yeah, Goon Ball is also one of those like star players that you like to have to watch. He plays a lot of like Soraka, not Soraka, Tristana. I was looking at Soraka there, but he plays like these high carry champions and can actually solo games with the right maneuver and a good team comp around him. But with that
And
being,
kind of
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. Kind of incredibly, I don't know a ton about top matchups, but I would have definitely thought early this was Renekton focused or
Yeah,
favored at
no,
least.
you're not wrong. This is actually York's been playing this out really well, staying back, pressing E, really just punishing off the Renekton as well. But the problem is Renekton isn't staying healthy enough. Really, isn't he pushed too far ahead onto a York, where he would want to actually stay a little bit further back and let Zac come up and gank for him because Renekton, like I said before game happened, is an excellent champion to get ganks off with. And so you love partnering up with a Renekton to get an easy first blood.
You can see the flash blown
Hmm.
there mid. Malzahar, kind of notoriously short range. He should have pretty safe wave clear, especially after his maybe first base here, depending on what he buys.
What are you doing there, Reese? You shouldn't be walking through enemy tri-bush nonchalantly.
Just kind of scouting ahead, kind of
Yeah.
just seeing what's going on.
Vision. I like to mess around with Reese a little bit. He's a good pal of mine, so I gotta talk some smack to him sometimes, you know. But good trades. But yeah, you were saying the Malzahar actually flashing after that Zac gank is going to be huge because Zac can come in for another repeat gank and possibly even get a kill off of that.
Yeah, we see him come back with a lost chapter though. That should be able to give him enough sustain to hopefully safely wave clear.
Oh,
Dropping his
yeah.
poison on the minions. We have seen Legos has definitely changed his ways and started to target Soraka, but it almost still feels like it's not quite enough. Sivir can get enough return damage on him, and Jin's damage isn't is front loaded really. So again, it's once Soraka kind of gets going, this lane is just horrible to play against.
Yeah. Yeah, no kidding. She becomes like the ocean soul that no one even like had to fight for at all. So really good pick, and they're playing it really well bot side, and they only scale to become even more of a menace, like you were saying.
Yeah, I think so. That first blood, I think, had a lot of implications to it with what happened. But they're never out of the game. I mean, if you have a Thresh, based on your skill, you can make so much happen. So we'll have to see how Legos plays this out and kind of what happens mid game. It can make a huge difference if you can just jump on Soraka.
Yeah, good call by the Renekton to flash out of that because he was going to fall to the Yorick there. So a lot of flashes blown all across the map there. Sivir's flash almost coming up, but Renekton not having flash there will probably have Reese keeping his eyes to the top side of this map after a dragon pick here.
That's definitely true. I mean, we've seen this York push in Renekton already, and with a low enough health bar, Hecarim just has to do a little charge in, and you might see the crocodile fall.
Looks like we're going to have a dragon fight actually here. And so the Malzahar are ulting onto the Soraka there. The Veigar cage going to be locking down a lot of people, but tons of damage going down. Thresh falling, Soraka falling. They're going to be still focusing up on this dragon as well. So Sivir going onto the Malzahar, onto the Jhin with the help of Veigar. Flashback from Jhin. Zac not really steals, takes the dragon, and Reese just kind of backs off into the jungle and keeps it, tries to get a little bit off of jungle camps from away from the Zac while they take the main objective. Top lane, flash blown by York, but it's a good trade. No one's going to really fall here. Unless Reese is just caught in the jungle here. He's going to try and take the red buff, but was outsmited. He's very low. Going to be flashing forward. Zac taking that kill.
There's just so much here to unpack. Just going back, I mean, we see Malzahar, Hyper Expert, targeting the Soraka, which I think is, overall a good idea. We know the Soraka is going to be a nuisance, that she can heal up the team. But Veigar capturing them in the cave said, you have to stay an arm's length away. So no one could really pop her as quickly as they needed to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this top lane makes me nervous. They both sit so low, too. I'm just... Dynamic camera keeps, like, inching its way topside and looking at them menacingly. Zac is actually Uno reversing Reese here and is going to be in his jungle this time. Jenna ulti going down. The Thresh is falling, but here comes the Hecarim gank topside. That's going to be a pretty easy pickup for them. Reese picking up that kill. So kills all around the map there. Jin, I didn't even see that kill, but he did take out the Soraka. Probably an overextension of some sort.
But he had the Jin R going, and she maybe was body blocking for Sivir there. It's good to see the trade, though, because we were starting to feel like this lane was just becoming more and more oppressive. But if Jin can get a couple kills, once he gets his Gale Force, there's a huge amount of playmaking that can actually come out of Jin as well.
Ooh, Reese tries to take the blue buff, does steal it, and is going to be walking out of there. Yeah, okay, it worked. He got something off of it now.
He learned from the first try, and he improved. Lose is improve. It's a great motto, and I like it. I mean, you're Hecarim. It feels like you kind of need to be pushing this, because eventually Zac is going to become this just tank monster, and he can kind of blop around on you.
Ooh, lots of damage onto the Yorick there. It is going to be taken down by the Veigar. and they're just going to be pretty happy sailing from there. Maybe even to a potential rift pick here up here, but it looks like they're just going to opt out, go back to lanes, and farm back up again.
My feeling is now Sloppy Steaks kind of has this incredible scaling. I like the Renekton for kind of like this earlier force, but you have to be afraid of like the tank of the Zac with the Soraka healing him up, and that health is just, it has insane value once there's tank stats applied to it. The Viger scaling, and we know it looks like Sivir's going for like this crit build. It gets monstrous eventually. I think Imagine Shadow really needs to kind of up the chaos level here. They are ahead, but they kind of need to continue to push that. So I really like what Ritsu's doing, and I think they all just kind of need to be, pushing the effort together.
Be as chaotic as Risu. Oh, and looks like here it begins.
Exactly.
The Ignite going down. They're going to be going on to Vigar. The cage goes up, but it's going to be knocked up and ulted down by Malzahar here. So I think they may have listened to us from the future onto this VOD.
The opposite of caster curse.
Yeah.
So that's exactly the kind of thing I'm talking about. Viger steps a little too forward. They come do something about it.
Ooh, Thresh topside might be doing something here, but he's going to get some tower shots. This might be ill-advised as Renekton's going to be going down. Here comes the Thresh ulti going off as well. Zac's going to be ganking the mid laner, but back over to the top side of this map as Force Sparta takes off the kill onto Thresh here. York's going to see if he can do something about this. He's going to try and do a little bit of a damage there, but it's not going to be enough. He's going to be collapsed on, so he has to find an escape or find a kill, something. Does take out the Renekton, but here comes Vigar, here comes Zac, and it's going to be going down here. There's no way this Kiwi kid gets out of this. So Zac ulti going down. Ulti from the Vigars goes out as well. Hecarim's there, but he's not going to be caught. He's too fast.
There are some notable things there. For what they just did give up, Sloppy Steaks just lost a lot of health on that mid turret. We know opening up mid turret is huge. And this entire time that Thresh has been roaming, while Jhin might have sacrificed some CS, he's still ahead. And he is definitely ahead in experience now. And that can be very dangerous.
Ooh. Several ulting out of that's going to be hard for their next dragon fight. She's so team oriented with the speed buff, as she's going to get her team in better position. But with that being down now, we might see a play from Imagine Shadows onto another objective.
I think the Sivir ult is a huge part of their comp because it's an answer to the speed of Hecarim. We won't be caught out horribly if we can at least move quickly away from him or reposition. So yeah, that's a huge cooldown to be blown leading up to that. And I think crucially, Jhin being low mana, he would have been able to pick that up with his R possibly.
And topside, we see the gank from the Hecarim onto the Renekton. So that's going to be lights out for them. Hecarim's going to go back. He's going to go over to the dragon here. They're going to have to answer for something. Their lead in CS is amounting larger and larger as time goes on, and so if they keep up this momentum and keep up the as you say, the kind of chaos that they can provide as a team, they might be getting more objectives and putting the timer of Sloppy Steaks' scaling comp in peril.
Yeah, exactly. And York's got it. He's got the item we all have to buy. Top lane tax. It's Hullbreaker gaming time. So
for sure.
It's going to make it even harder for Renekton to kind of deal with them in this 1v1.
Let's see if they grab something off of this. They're going to try and do a lot of damage with the Jhin there. The Thresh going to be pulling out the lantern over to Jhin a little bit closer, but I don't think they're going to be able to catch any more fish here as a great disengage from Sloppy Steaks is pulled out. Ooh, this could be dangerous though. York takes over the blue buff. Is it going to be his life for the blue? He has to get out of this one here. He's going to take a lot of damage, and the entire team of Imagine Shadows just pulls up and says, "No, you're not."
But imagine Shadow has their top laners back. Kiwi, you're not going anywhere. Don't worry, we
Mhm.
got you. Um, yeah, I mean they have to kind of keep sending two to deal with this Yorick, and that's kind of what we've seen. And it almost seems like he's almost getting something back almost every time. He's getting plates, maybe picking up a kill. He is dying, and notably to Viger scaling. But this is going to still become something that's harder and harder to deal with. The Maiden knocking down your door. We'll see what they do in response. Hopefully, they know if we can just stall this out late enough, we have this incredible team fight, and they should be able to eventually kind of take over.
For sure. It looks like they're going to be going on to the Renekton tier. See how this goes down. I don't think Renekton has any way out. No turret, no safety. Here comes the Yorick. He's going to put down his E. Going to try and see what they can do. The ulti from the Hecarim goes down. Double.
Rocco is up.
Yeah.
No,
Oh, no. She's not going to use it. I don't think he was going to be out with the Rocka ult. But who knows? Maybe. It's a hard tell.
Hecarim was chasing with some speed. Yeah, probably
Mm-hmm.
not. That was probably a better decision to hold it.
For sure. Now, imagine Shadows just getting more and more of a bigger lead as time goes on. They weren't getting a lot of kills, but now that they have the gold advantage, they're picking up more kills. The game is almost flipped from what we saw from an early level 1 from their bot lane here. What would you like to see from Sloppy Steaks to kind of pull it back, but get the pants and everything back in order here?
Yeah, so right now I think they're trying to unravel this puzzle of how do we deal with Yorick, because it feels like that's like the most single pressing issue right now. And I kind of like what they did here. Yeah, swap up our bot lane here. He can't really go too hard against them. They can hopefully fend him off. Sivir's wave clear. Just
Hmm.
get Renekton some CS. Because we're gonna just need Renekton to basically hold, come into team fights, and go crazy on someone. So I do actually like exactly what they're doing. This is essentially what I'd recommend. Maybe not so much anymore. It's kind of bad news to put your carries in the same lanes for just farming purposes, but
Hmm. Well, we might have a caught out Hecarim. He's going to be ulting forward. He's going trying to see if he can pick something up. Here comes York in the background, but Zach's coming in as well. Soraka ulti goes down. Viger flashing back. They take out the Maiden, and I am impressed that they're able like Reese is just getting himself in dangerous scenarios, but he's able to escape due to the reaction time of his own team.
yeah, I mean we've seen that from Imagine Shadow a few times now. Couple minutes ago, we saw Zach jump in under turret under Cage's lucky pick. He had the insta flash out.
Hmm.
We just saw Reese's insta R out of that cage. Yeah, so there is some very good reaction
Yeah.
times going on here.
He's going to see if he can grab up this Renekton, and they're going to be going for a re-engage from the Zac. A lot of damage going down. The Malzahar actually flashing him forward and is going to be killed by the Renekton. They're going to see if he can grab something there. But Hecarim is going to pull out the Uno reverse card, takes out the solo laner. Here comes a flash from Thresh as well. Going to see if he can negate any more damage onto Reese. Is going to try and see if he can do a little bit more. Is getting picked off by the Zac. York's in the corner there, but he's not going to get too much there. Thresh hook not landing, and so that will be a good trade for both sides, actually.
It was great to see for Sparta pick up a little bit of gold there on a kill,
Hmm.
but then kind of underestimated how much Hecarim could turn around and slap him for. But it's definitely a good pickup because still Sloppy Steaks just needs to kind of hold in there, just bear and grit the chaos that Imagine Shadows putting out, this onslaught of Reese's ganks. And I mean, that's really what we said he needed to do from the beginning.
Hmm.
Just be out there, just more often than Zach, putting on more pressure. We know Zach's ganks are also very troublesome, and you can see this jungle matchup is, they're both one of like the kill leaders on their team, as well as some of the our gold leaders on their team. Hecarim is only second to their top laner,
Oh yeah,
and
that's
Zach
right.
is only second to Sivir. So For a jungler, I mean, those are very high gold shares.
Yeah, we're going to get a dragon fight here. They see if Imagine Shadows respond to this. Ulti coming in from Jin, from the Hecarim, going to pick off that Viger. A lot of damage going out. Fourth shot onto Soraka is going to lead to her demise as York does a flash E forward, is going to take that one out. Goomball's in danger now. Here's the Gale Force forward from the Jin. Is going to see what he can grab from that, but Renekton's also going to be chasing him down in the back line. Zax's passive goes down as well. And we're going to see a little bit more of a chase happening as the Cage's lucky pick is biting off a little bit more than he can chew as the Renekton follows him. But Kill the Kiwi is going on and on as he persists forward with his York ability to press Q and E. Is he going to be able to pick that one up? He does pick up the Renekton. Are they going to be able to pick up the Sivir and snipe from downtown? Nice job, Jin. And Hecarim just running into the base. Is he going to be able to get out? Lots of damage from the Vigar. Is going to be putting a lot. Oh my word! There's no way. He can't keep getting away with this. We have Rip Herald in the mid lane just pounding that down. Here comes Thresh. Is going to land a Q onto Vigar. Is going to get another kill for Jin. We see top lane turrets going down. York's in the mid lane now. This is complete chaos. What is going on? Within a matter of seconds, they've put the base in shambles.
They flipped the switch. Chaos engaged. They picked off Viger at the dragon fight. Viger is huge to the stability of Sloppy Steak's team. The box, the threat of the R was completely vanished. At that point, Imagine Shadow can just run over their team. Reese doesn't have to worry about cages. Really, the only thing that can stop him is Renekton, and he's not that concerned about it.
Completely agreed, yeah. So they do almost get all the kills there, like all the turrets, sorry, rather. And they just got picked off by the Thresh there. The next thing that we're going to be looking for is obviously going to be that Baron, and honestly probably end of the game soon, judging off that last play.
Reese does not quit. He keeps the threat going. This is exactly what he needs to do. And as we saw in that previous, long extended fight, the pocket sand from Yorick is so obnoxious. You wouldn't think a slow would hurt you so bad, but the chase that it gives him allowed them to continue this fight and keep picking people off one by one.
With the recent buffs just over time with Yorick, he's become an underrated but a really good pick in the top side of the map, especially now more than ever with the Hullbreaker being released and everything too. So he's been playing it really well too.
He was always going to be obnoxious, even if Imagine Shadow wasn't really this far in the lead. But with him in the lead, it feels just unsurmountable. How do we deal with this? He's almost going to become, he becomes raid boss Yogurt.
yeah.
Becomes a raid boss. But we'll see. Imagine Shadow's threatening with this Baron. Can you do anything about this? And it looks like Sloppy Steak says no, and maybe that's for the best.
And so they do pick up that Baron there, and they're probably going to just reset, go mid, York, put him in the side lane, probably put him bot side. And unless a miracle happens, I don't know how or what they're going to do to respond on the side of Sloppy Steaks. Do you have any suggestions?
So, I mean, it feels like when you're in this scenario, okay, we need 5 players to run down this York instantly before anyone else can respond. And that's like a dream scenario. So you're almost waiting for Imagine Shadow to make a mistake at this point. I mean, they have this 12k gold lead. And it's just going to feel very rough. Again, Sloppy Steaks just needs their time. Of course, Viger is kind of one who can help keep York in his zone, but kind of we're asking the question, is it too late? There's Baron minions, there's super minions coming through mid. Can they hold all these things at once?
Good point. It's a tight dinner plate to kind of have as well. So a lot of damage going on to the York there. The turret is going down. Vigar's going to see what they can do here. And like you said, all 5 people here. Vigar actually flashing out of the cage and is trying to do a lot of damage to York, but no follow-up. And then we see in the top side of the map, it was not fast enough. Here comes the rest of the team from Imagine Shadows as they keep persisting forward and trying to get more and more with this Baron buff.
As soon as you try to go for the split pusher, if the rest of the team can react anywhere, Oh wait, the huge fight breaking
Yeah,
out.
everything just going. Yorick's doing tons of damage. Jin's doing tons of damage. Lockdown. CC from the Heck Room from Malzahar is going to lead to the defeat here and the victory for Imagine Shadows. So they take game one here.
Wow, I mean that was incredible. I mean, we definitely saw a little bit of a slow early game coming out from Imagine Shadow, kind of getting their footing in the game. We saw an early kind of little fumble bot lane, of course. Dealing with Soraka and Sivir can always be a bad time, but it seems like once they kind of got their footing in the game, they said, okay, let's go big mode. And they went big mode. I mean, they went crazy. They caused chaotic fights. They kind of split up the stability of sloppy stakes. Target Viger, he can't slow down these fights. Make sure we're targeting Soraka. She can't prolong these, so Zack's bouncing around in our face forever. It just felt like Imagine Shadow was able to get the jump every time.
Yeah, I completely agree. And game one going over them, we're going to take a quick intermission here, and we will be back momentarily for game two of Imagine Shadows versus Sloppy Steaks. Hello, SEAL community. We are going into game two between Imagine Shadows versus Sloppy Stakes here. So, like we were saying before, like the implications for first seed now are a little bit harder for Sloppy Stakes, as we were discussing in our little intermission with ourselves, is saying, well, they would have to go time on attack. So that would mean that Sloppy Stakes would need to finish faster than 24 minutes, I believe, if they were going to take the first seed. If I'm not correct there. So Fuzzy Bear, how do you feel like about the last game, and what would we like to see for our second game here?
So definitely impressed with the ferocity of Imagine Shadow. I really liked how they came out swinging. And I mean,
Mhm.
I really feel like that's how you want to come out in these matches. Game one, you get certain things banned, and then you have to say, hey, you should have banned this, and you kind of go crazy on them. And I think maybe they got a little flavor of that, maybe they didn't. Um, but I still think Sloppy Steaks is by no means out of this. They're definitely a huge contender. I mean, we saw them kind of, taking over the very early game, and then it just seemed like once York started to get going, once Thresh got roaming, things got a little bit out of control. So if they can maybe kind of contain the top and bot lane a little bit more, they'll have a better experience.
Oh, for sure, yeah. Really put Reese on his toes and have I think like the little bit of you're gonna need laners that are gonna be able to rotate fast to you and like really punish Reese for getting in your face in your jungle all the time, right? So with that being said, let's actually jump into our picks and bans here. So Fozzy, what do you feel about just it looks about relatively same bands, but how do you feel about the how the draft went this time compared to our last match here?
I mean, that was a great point you just made. We saw how aggressive Reese was. So, hey, I need some instant backup. Okay, press the Shen Summoner spell. That's a great pick
Mhm.
as a response to knowing the play style of Reese. But yeah, we do see the same band. So, and now after seeing that game, I think we can all really appreciate maybe a Shaco and Evelyn band with how aggressive he plays. You know, he would be going for these kills. Um, one big thing to note here is uh, Imagine Shadow used their first pick on Thresh, so Lego still grabbed that Thresh, very important. Sloppy Stakes responded by saying, at least, you're not taking Hecarim. That was a bad time. We'll take the horse this time. We'll definitely have some guaranteed aggression to start these fights. So I definitely like that, as well as the duo with Shen. Call in your Shen button, and it'll definitely kind of hopefully deter Reese a little bit. He has to think twice about going for these big invades.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I totally agree. And Sloppy Six overall bands and their whole team comp is really really nice. Ezreal produces a lot of AD damage. Vigar produces a lot of AP damage. Shen is a really good global kind of like menace around the whole map. Nautilus and Hecarim for tankiness and CC. I love their team comp. On Imagine Shadows time, it looks like they're playing a lot through Camille. It feels as bot lane's going to be playing safe. Malahar is just kind of a nullifying state. They liked how it played out last time. Means Vigar can't roam. But that means Reese is almost subjected to only one side of the map, where Hecarim is could possibly go anywhere.
Yeah, I think we saw from the previous game, kind of redemption was probably your ace. It felt like if anything was going to happen, it was kind of on Viger's hands.
Hmm.
So I definitely like seeing this Viger pick again. It felt like that was going pretty well. He needed a little bit more time, and he would have started to probably give that York problems. Again, though, I mean, I think we all have pretty good faith in Kill the Kiwi now. We saw, hey, if you can get a lead in lane, you can push it. Even if people come, you were able to always kind of get something back, deal with that pressure. Camille, another terrifying top lane pick right now.
Hmm.
Cho'Gath ult on the Q. Especially with the ignite. That's something we really have to watch out for. The bottom lane matchup also really interesting, of course. Legos on this Thresh again, and right now Caitlyn isn't a huge dominating pick by win rate, but I think Caitlyn excels in these matchups where you're against someone who is a little shorter range and who wants to scale. Exactly this type of matchup into an Ezreal. Um, but we'll have to see. Nautilus hooks can always change this, and of course, the Hecarim ganks can always make a huge impact. Again, we'll really have to watch what the junglers do this match.
Yeah, just like last game, junglers are going to be playing a huge key role to their team's victory here. So, without further ado, let's actually jump into game and get this match started. Alrighty, we are back for game two. No, Fozzie Bear, we were. I want to kind of see maybe a little bit of cheekiness from one of these teams level one. I like you said in the last game, like you love level one cheese, but it looks like both teams going to be doing a 5 point again.
We'll see what they think because now you know we both have hook champs. You know what's gonna happen.
Ooh.
Oh,
They gave themselves a good high five, and then on their way they went.
yeah, it looks like that might be. I mean, Double Shang is still in base, so he might have been deciding about starts or items.
Hmm.
So yeah, it looks like it will just be the 5 point. I think that's kind of a good idea this time. You know, it's scary when you have a hook versus hook. Sometimes it feels like the second to engage wins, although sometimes it's the first. It's kind of it's very lopsided. It's really dependent on how it plays out.
Yeah, it comes down to teams like coming in and picking off and making those like big hooks or those big plays really worthwhile. Now, going into some typical matchups here, I like where these junglers are pathing. They're both pathing to the top side of the map. Shen is also pretty good a laner to gank for, and Camille's, like I said last game, Camille and Renekton are probably arguably the two best top laners to gank for. So depending how top lane plays out is going to probably be where our first blood's going to lie.
Now there's a very specific interaction here. Does Shen's little zone not apply Camille's empowered Q? How does
Yeah,
that work?
it's because it's an auto, it would just not apply. So she
Because
has to
that
time it
can make a
well.
big difference in
Oh, for
that
sure.
fight.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, that was something I wasn't thinking of initially. So we'll definitely have to see how that plays out. And actually, I'm sorry, did we not catch this? This is Goonball top.
Oh, Goonball for spotter room. Oh, the nice little like they changed up where they were going to be playing out, and actually we have a top lane fight. Lego's getting a little bit too forward. Flash going down, heal going out from the Caitlyn, and so they're going to try and do a lot of damage onto for Sparta. They get another Q. Nice going in.
Whoa!
Wow. Q from the
Wow!
Caitlyn nicks the Ezreal, takes them down, and then Thresh is able to clean up against the Nautilus there. Really well played for Cage's lucky pick and Legos.
I mean, this is exactly the Caitlyn I'm describing. And so even further, the rune choice of lethal tempo. If you look up, oftentimes it's recommended you take fleet footwork. But in these matchups where you can definitely abuse the range difference and you can stack lethal tempo, it is devastating.
Mhm.
And I think we just saw it play out there.
Yeah, a lot of damage going down onto the Malzahar. He doesn't have any mana now, but oh, back bot lane, we do see a nice trade. Ignite going down onto the Thresh. Are they going to be able to follow up and take him down? They might, and the Thresh hook lands onto Ezreal. Wow, I was not expecting that. And then we see topside, the Camille's going to be ganked by the Hecarim. Does land the stun there. But I'm just more impressed that that Thresh hook landed onto Ezreal as it went through Nautilus's body. It felt like...
Well, it was definitely no joke that Legos definitely has his chops on this champion. He definitely knows how to curve the hook. And we're really
Yeah.
seeing it play out that Caitlyn just dominates these matchups where her opponent just doesn't have the damage to match her early.
Oh no. Oh, the super minion says, "Get down, Mr. President," as he stops the Elise cocoon damage going down, but Camille's gonna fall slowly from the Hecarim Q as that finishes off. And so what they thought might have been a sneaky play topside turns out to be the favor of Sloppy Steaks.
I liked it. I liked the setup, the sneaky spider in the bush, you kind of wait. But that is, one of the issues with Elise, despite all of her strength, her only CC is this thin cocoon. And if it even just taps a minion, that's all you have.
Hmm.
And there was an even sneakier horse in the bush waiting for his moment. So
Yeah.
it was a great setup by Double Shank. I don't know if he had any idea he was going to be there, but it
Hmm.
was just a great time to be there.
Yeah. Absolutely love the idea of a sneaky sneaky horse just in a bush.
Sneaky horse.
Thresh trying to do some sneaky plays in the bot side now onto the Ezreal, onto the Nautilus, and so I think Caitlyn and Ezreal could actually possibly even freeze that wave there and make sure and they wait for the Elise to come around the corner to gank for them. Thresh hook coming down, Ezreal E going out, nothing's gonna happen there.
Yeah, again, notably, I think, you know, I don't know if Force Sparta is really plays a lot more top. The big thing here was before Ezreal has his dash, he's so vulnerable to these Thresh hooks. And as we can see now, once he has E, he's very safe from them. And I think they're probably a similar cooldown. He should almost have it up all the time, especially if he's landing spells. So he should be kind of safer now. This lane should stabilize. But yeah, those early kills for Caitlyn might go a long way.
Oh, big damage going down bot side. They're going to be doing a lot of damage onto the Thresh. The Ignite goes down onto him. They're going to try and get the Ezreal, but he's going to flash out, and Cocoon damage from the Elise is going to turn the tides of that fight as they pick up the Nautilus, and everyone actually living from that altercation bot side. Legos is running on thin ice, but still makes it work.
And when we're seeing for Sparta's Ezreal, he's dishing out the damage now. Now that he's had a little bit of time to hit a few levels in, these are becoming very, very close. But Caitlyn hasn't cashed in yet. That's a big thing too. These things might start going very sideways when she cashes in this kill and 2 assists based on what she buys.
Ooh, a lot of damage going down. Ulti from the Malzahar going on to the Vigar. Gonna see if they can grab more of the Cocoon, and the Repel up doesn't get over the wall, unfortunately. So Reese making a good call to recall from that jungle gank, and Vigar lives, but not without using a summoner. So,
I still just like how Reese is playing this out.
Oh, for sure, yeah. We were talking a little bit about Goon Ball and for Sparta whipping it out. So for some character lore, I've watched these guys play for a couple seasons here in CEAL. So Goon Ball, for Sparta, and Double Shank are all pretty well versed in a kind of all well-rounded roles. Goon Ball, most notably, I've seen him more times than not, either top side or ADC. For Sparta, I think I've seen him in the mid lane, but I haven't seen his ADC play in a while. Double Shank I usually would see in the top side, so all three of them can kind of be flexed in different positions. But we did get a jungle gank going down onto the Malzahar, who is just a little bit overstepped as the Hecarim comes in and takes that kill.
Yeah, it's a beautiful gank from Double Shank. I mean, he said, okay, you know, Reese, I had the other side of the Hecarim playing against Simulator, and let me try it. And he's showing that he's just as well versed on it. Again, we're seeing Legos go for these plays time and time again.
Yeah, Shen ulti going down, but Legos wants more, and maybe this might be a bad call for them, because now Shen is here, going to be trying to producing a lot of damage there. Does take out Legos. No one in Imagine Shadows could respond fast enough to that.
Yeah, the third summoner spell comes in huge there, calling my Shen. And that's something you have to be aware of, and it's easy to forget. Oh, we're dominating this lane. We'll just take every fight. And you know, sometimes that shield is so hard to tell in the heat of the moment. And he shows up and he gets that, I think, double taunt, and they're able to turn that around to that huge.
How'd that Vigar get there? I have questions. I have questions. Wait, how did that Vigar get there?
Is this the the Nexus Rift mode or Blast mode? Do you have the Wandering Vigar in the jungle?
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
All right. Well, I mean, Reese gets a benefit off of that one, as he's going to be able to take out the roaming Vigar. But yeah, sorry, that one caught me off guard. What were you saying again?
Something about the bot lane, but that's huge implications. Malzahar loves to be alone, get his minions slapping this turret, and again, this Legos is just all over this bot lane.
Wow, yeah, hook after hook, pick after pick, and Cage is lucky. Oh, Thresh hook actually steals that. Unfortunate. He's simply too good with the hooks.
I mean, something I'm really respecting about Legos is he's not going for the same play over and over. He's kind of learning from his mistakes. We saw in the first game, if I try to skill check this Sivir, Sivir has the chops to match me. So okay, I'm gonna just target Soraka over and over. And then
Hmm.
when that kind of wasn't going their way, he said, okay, I'm gonna go roam and target someone else. So he kept trying different things. And we saw here, once Ezreal had a Z, he really couldn't get Ezreal anymore. He said, fine, no, it's Nautilus then. So I mean,
Yeah.
there's a lot of thinking going on behind this Thresh. It's not just mindless hook play.
No, for sure. He's actually getting inside their heads because Nautilus is trying to defend Ezreal from getting hooked. So, like you said, Thresh is just like, well, I'm gonna aim it direction is going towards Ezreal, but if you get in my way, I'll take it, kind of thing. He's even taken a couple hooks that just landed on minions just to get position on some of these plays.
Yeah, I mean, you can tell this is a very experienced Thresh player.
And the Malzahar ult going down, Thresh hook landing as well, and that's going to be a nice pickup for Reese as they take out the Vigar again.
So again, it kind of felt like a Magic Shadow. I don't know. At least apart from the bot lane, they had a very slow beginning. But it's again beginning to quickly turn around once they get their footing in the game. Once Legos gets to step around the map, things start going sideways.
As you saw there, that's a good testament to what you were just saying. Getting that pick onto the Vigar going forward here. And now look at these pink wards. They're really already keeping jungle pressure and making sure that when that next dragon comes up, they're going to be prepared for this.
Yeah, that's big. I mean, they know that playing against Vigors, this zone control machine, they just had the Heck Room, so they have a good idea of how to play around it or with it. So I definitely like the vision setup. I mean, this is huge. And of course, Legos is probably thinking, I'm going to wait for him to kind of come up early and try to grab him. So I think kind of from Sloppy Steaks here, they need to be kind of moving as a squad so that this single Thresh hook becomes a little less effective if he's zooming into 3 or 4 people and can get popped quick enough. Kate kind of lacks this DPS until she gets her lethal tempo stacking, until people start stepping on these traps or get close enough for her to net backwards. So I think kind of this grouping for these fights is going to be the way to go. But we have to wonder, is this gold difference already substantial enough to make these go one way?
For sure. And constant aggression coming out, actually landing onto the Nautilus hook. And but topside, we have Dynamic Hammer freaking out right now as Thresh is going to be going into a 2v1. Is going to be picked off on the Vigar. Ulti from the Caitlyn is going to not land onto the Ezreal. Great job from Sloppy Steaks to mount to this. But we might have a roaming Elise and possibly even a roaming Malzahar down here.
So again, I mean, one thing to keep in mind is they did have Shen. They decided not to call him, but we'll have Vigar kind of move around. And now Vigar's giving up again quite a lot in the mid lane. But it's important for Vigar to grab these huge stacks because he's going to be a threat as this game goes on and on.
Yeah. Hecarim going on to the Malzahar here. Ulti coming down. Elise is coming around the corner. Is going to be picking up this kill. And, oh, Vigar actually landing the stun with the cage with a nice WQ combo. Takes that kill. That was really impressive by him.
In the previous game, we saw Malzahar picked by Hyper Expert as well, and even in that match, I did like it, but there wasn't a great target that was going to kind of dive him and he'd just hold still and say no. In this case, there definitely is. But still, I mean, this Hecarim, he's quite... Oh, I thought he was more ahead than this. But you have to feel like he's kind of been everywhere. He's doing a little bit of everything, and that was, again, he's showing, hey, I'm just as good on this Hecarim. It's definitely worth that early pick.
For sure, yeah. He's coming up with a 20 CS gold lead on to the Elise here. And Kiwi and Goomball going at it. Actually, Kiwi going underneath tower. Oh, wow! That was Ignite going down, but it's not going to be enough damage to defend off of the full combo of Shen underneath his own turret there.
So I'm not sure if we just saw it. I don't know if that would have been the second part of her Q that just got negated by the W from Shen. I'm not 100% sure, but... Yeah, I feel like that was a nail biter. That was extremely close. And now this is a great avenue for Sloppy Steaks, though. We know Camille will eventually kind of scale into this monster, but if Shen can kind of get ahead early, he slaps you down with that little baton.
Yeah, yeah, he does. Yeah, he's one of those laners that you gotta make sure that you're always on top of him, especially in the CS category, because if he gets that big lead and gets that big kind of overall lane dominance Shen build that we all know and love, he's a problem. He's a really big problem. So seeing that kill there, really capitalizing on the kill there on the Camille is going to be huge for success later on.
Interestingly, though, Camille is actually still up 700-ish gold compared to him just by the CS numbers.
Wow.
So, there's a little bit more going on here, but we'll have to see how this plays out. I think this is gonna be crucial for how the game goes.
Oh, for sure. Dragon's going to be coming up in just a couple seconds here. Who do you think is going to want to take this one away? For me personally, I think that Sloppy Steaks might have to go for the risky Dragon pick because they just see at least top side of the map now. So I would be sprinting to that Dragon as we speak, but they're going to put a lot of pressure top side, so it's hard to answer.
Oh, dropping the Rift Herald there, it demands that more than one person answer this.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like neither team will really care for the Dragon this early. In my opinion, I feel like Sloppy Steaks wanted to kind of flex their strength as a group together, have Shen somewhere, and then call him in. But we'll have to see. I mean, there's just fights going on everywhere.
Yeah,
instead.
Bot side, we see a nice pick from the Nautilus onto the Thresh there. Top side, we see another Trine picking off of the, Elise rather. But no one's really falling. Shen ulting the Hecarim to try and get him that little bit extra damage and support around that. But overall, nice win for the Sloppy Steaks.
I mean, so this creates this very interesting environment of now we are fighting for the Dragon without summoners.
Yeah,
ultimates.
Ulti going down onto Viger from the Malzahar, going to see if what they can pick off, but they're going to be taken out one after another, and Objective Bounty going over to the side of Sloppy Steaks as they pick off that, and basically almost even the gold lead that they were falling further and further behind on.
Yeah, it looks like Imagine Shadow kind of stepped up a little too early. They felt like, hey, we can take this. They might feel like, oh, we're very far in the lead, but the strength of the numbers of Sloppy Steaks, I think, kind of came through there. They work stronger. The sum of their parts is greater than the individual.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it kind of showed there. I mean, it was a 3v2, I believe, but they still were kind of going against bad odds against those players.
For sure. Now there's a lot to be said about this game and kind of seeing the evenness between them all. But we're gonna see a play topside potentially onto this Camille here. Here comes a Hecarim. Here comes a Vigar. Vigar actually TPing up for this fight, so probably gonna be wanting to take the kill off of anyone who takes it. Here comes the ulti from the Camille. Lots of damage going down, and Vigar does manage to take that kill. So good on him. He gets rewarded for ulting up there.
Yeah, there's a restraint there of kind of holding the kill to make sure our boy gets his stacks.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, you kind of have to feel like Redemption was really holding his own the game prior, as well as Double Shank was making everything kind of happen. So I definitely like him kind of giving the kills over. Shen's kind of feeling good as it is. He doesn't need a ton of gold here.
Ooh, here comes a big flank. Here comes the Shen around the corner. The Nautilus landing the hook onto the Caitlyn is going to be picking that one off. On the other side of the map, we do see the Hecarim ulting down, trying to get that Thresh hook not landing. And here comes Malzahar. He's in a bad position. Tries to flash, hits the wall, hits into the cage, hits into the Nautilus Q. Here comes Ezreal doing a lot of damage as well. He's going to try and pick him off as Malzahar is just doing what he can to survive. Unable to pick up the kill onto Nautilus, but they do see something more. There comes the Shen ulti. There is an Elise in the air, and down she goes as she has to run for her life as the horse and the ninja come chasing down mid lane.
Wow, I mean, you have to feel like Imagine Shadow still kind of feels like they're in the previous game. Wow, we're so ahead, we're unstoppable. They're kind of going a little too far ahead, and the Shen is just knocking on your door. Hey, I'm behind you. I'm a threat. You need to worry about me. And again, when they move together in numbers, Sloppy Steaks is devastating.
Nice Nautilus hook onto Elise. Actually picks that one off. Oh, Vigar might be in danger, though. Does land on a trap, and Caitlyn's going to be coming around the corner. Here comes a TP over onto the Thresh Lantern. Is going to see if they can pick up that. Caitlyn does get the shutdown onto the Vigar, and Malzahar is going to get the shutdown onto the Ezreal. I don't think that Shen's going to be able to escape. Oh, Camille did use E already, so he's going to be able to flash over the wall and get out of that one.
Imagine Shadow will not be caught lacking either, though. They slap back very quickly. If you overstay, we will take this back on you. And so this is actually a very, very close game, I think. Despite about the K or 2K gold difference here, it's very close, and we're going to see these two teams hopefully continue to make this a bloodbath and battle this out. I'm
Oh,
really enjoying it.
yeah, these two teams are not giving up. They're not letting, like, as soon as one thing happens, they have something happening over across the other side of the map, you know? And so they've been really capitalizing as a unit to try and see who comes out on top. Both these teams are very bloody and very aggressive, but it's really, I think you were actually talking about it before, like, whoever strikes first might be the one who's losing in the overall trade.
It's very hard to tell with the hook champs, but yeah, I mean we just see here that they're beginning to try to fight this Camille and learning that she's beginning to step into this phase of the game
Oh
where
no.
she's becoming a huge nuisance. She's
Yeah.
hard to fight, and she can actually fight back.
What a good call from Imagine Shadows, having two people, the Hecarim showing bot lane for a little bit too long, the Vigar showing up for a little bit too long, Camille not even falling to that. They're going to pick up a nice easy dragon with no major contention.
Yeah, so the Camille, even though she's 0-3-1, she's still up 600 gold here, and she's able to fend off a 2v1. This is this is the horror of playing against Camille. And so, yeah, if your jungler shows on the opposite side, I'm going to take the Baron on you. What can we say, folks?
Yeah.
What can we say?
How dare you stay underneath tower when Camille is in the area? The audacity!
As an ADC player myself, that nightmare I've lived too many times. So I know exactly how you feel, Redemption. It's a good time.
Yeah, I'm a top lane player, so I feel for the Camille. I'm like, yeah, that thing's in death range. Go in. Do it. And they did not disappoint. And so taking up that kill, Baron buff really applying and putting the pressure on to Sloppy Steaks here. Let's see what they do to react to this. So Dragon going over. Dragon Soul's actually Mountain this time around. What's your takes on that? Like, is it going to be more favorable for one team? Do you want to see one team give it up? What do you expect for the next couple minutes of this game?
I mean, so my initial feeling is, again, if you throw another shield on this Camille, how do you deal with that? Again, also with Vigar trying to kind of pop people, that's going to kind of delay that. Whereas I feel like a lot of the damage that comes out of Imagine Shadow doesn't need to be like that instant pop. There's kind of like some damage, a delay, and then further damage, which I kind of like destroys the full feeling of that Mountain Soul shield. But still, the more Mountain Drakes you stack, you get that scaling, which I do think though heavily favors Sloppy Steaks. I think you will be seeing more tank items out of them.
For sure, yeah. It's more of a taken away contestation for the side of Imagine Shadows, but is really crucial for the victory for Sloppy Steaks in this main.
And so I've been swapped over to the gold for too long. I'm talking about the gold. Kill the Kiwi said, "Hey, it's Hull Breaker Gaming," and again we see the opposite side, Sloppy Steaks, not opting into it. And I think we're seeing the effect here that it can even handle these 1v2s. It makes these split push style, 1v1 champions, Camille, Yorick, just even worse to deal with. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I think at this point it's almost too late to pick that up for Shen, and I don't really think Shen enjoys that item at all.
No, because he's like ulting to his teammates way too often, it really doesn't get the gold benefit for it.
Right. So they have to start playing this game of who actually gets this job of holding off Camille. We saw Redemption kind of do it for a little while, but Camille takes these little trades and then eventually goes all in and can even pop them. So they have to make...
Oh my word. That's so unfortunate, but is Reese going to actually get out? Oh my word, there's no way. No way! What an escape! Wow! Imagine Shadows actually pulls that one off, and here comes a Hecarim ulti. They're mad. They're going in. They're going to see what they can grab. They pick off the Hecarim, but they're doing such a great job of disengaging. They're going to see if they could possibly do more damage onto the Thresh, but no! How does he keep getting away with this?
So I will say this. For the aggression that Reese puts out, he at least is very quick to know when to get out of jail, So that's... Definitely, he's not just going in blind, going crazy. He's using these mechanics to get himself out of there and live to fight another day, to steal another day. So I mean, they're just great invades. I don't know. Of course, it's held together by Legos there at the end.
Yeah. Legos really coming in MVP for Reese in that scenario. But next objective is going to be Baron and Dragon around the same time. What do you think? Which team's prioring which objective? And do you think there's a case where one team could actually even just get both of them at the same time?
So we're kind of in the same scenario where we're really concerned about their split push top laner, and I feel like this is the exact kind of situation they need to be able to group up on her, make the whole breaker ineffective, and win a team fight.
While we're all talking, absolute shenanigans is going down. Vigar is going to fall. We see the Shen falling as well. The invade going down and just coming out successful there. The TP coming out. Kill the Kiwi is going to be in a lot of danger. You're going to see what they can pick off as well. More damage coming down for the Imagined Shadows. The overextension, well, not even overextension, but the kill doesn't really apply onto Camille here. So that aggressive play really just comes down to Hullbreaker. Hullbreaker
Yeah,
diff.
I mean, so that was a play I would definitely tell Imagine Shadow not to take. Don't send your Camille with the team. Keep that whole breaker effect going. Send her way elsewhere. Make people come to her, and then dominate the opposite side, especially against Shen. But it just looks like they had just too good of a jump on that fight. I think the gold lead really showed there. They were able to come out ahead, even though she was kind of jumping into that. And then they kind of slowly moved in one by one. It's kind of the hero mistake, I can turn this, I can turn this. But no, you walk in and you kind of just get popped. So I still think Sloppy Steaks can do this. I really have a feeling for him.
Good engage going down. A lot of damage going down onto Nautilus here. This might be the changer of who gets this dragon now. Nautilus basically out of the fight. Here comes Shen, going to get a nice taunt off. Here comes Thresh over the wall with a nice Q. Going to be trying to get in a little bit more damage. Good ulti. Here comes the Caitlyn. Damage going down. Camille going on to the Vigard. Not going to be able to get that. And the dragon going over to the side of Imagined Shadows. They are on Soul Point now. They are not only in about a 7k gold difference, 6k actually, sorry, gold difference. They're on Soul Point and objective control this game, so they are playing like to perfection here. This is everything that they want.
I mean, so despite what I'm saying, send Camille elsewhere. They're staying together, and they're winning it. They're taking these fights. They're basically holding a line and saying, I dare you to step up here. We'll knock you down, and it's working.
Yeah, nice damage going on to Camille. She's going to be able to escape from this one, and they're going to check more damage onto the Hecarim. Down he goes. They are going to go gold, and Reese is going to try and see what he can do with that, and then they are going to take out Thresh, and the ulti coming down onto the Shen there. Caitlyn doing a ton of damage as well. Now it's just the mid laner ADC versus mid laner ADC for both teams.
I mean, so for Sparta, his Azrael is really turning on now. He's almost got this man immune stacked. He's got his Sunderer. He even has the Frozen Heart. He's trying to live long enough to put out this damage, against things like this Caitlyn and Camille. And you're really seeing him start to do that. Of course, Vigar is going to continue scaling. And I think the more that they keep Camille with the whole team, you're not getting as much effect out of that Hullbreaker, of course. But that gold lead, I think, is still showing how hard it is to break through their team, even when they're 5v5ing.
Yeah, there's one thing to note with, even though they bought the Hullbreaker and they're around the team, they're keeping at a far enough distance where they still get that Hullbreaker buff active. So they're making it gold efficient for themselves, but at the same time, the moment the team touches Camille, she's done. So they've been playing it really, really well, I think.
About how big is the range?
How would I even describe it?
I mean, are we talking like a ADC's auto attack range, or is it like?
Yeah, a little bit bigger than that, I think.
So they have to be almost on you?
Yeah, basically.
What is this item? What is
it? It's a good item if used correctly, which Imagine Shadows are doing effectively, but Oh, it's like 1,000 range kill. The Kiwi just told us here, so it's about 1,000 range. It's pretty good.
Yeah, but
Oh,
that's
1,400.
still not too big.
Yeah, it's still not too bad. And Hecarim going over the wall, going to be taking off Cage here. Going to Thrash go into the bush there. They're not going to be fooled by the flash shenanigans. They know which bush he went into. But yeah, it's big, but it's also manageable.
Well, so then the way Kiwi's playing this out is great. He's staying just ahead enough of his team to get the advantage out of it. And then eventually, it wears off when they start grouping together. But no, that's very interesting. I thought it was like huge. I don't know.
It looks bigger on screen, but like you can tell that they still have it active with that little icon that they have on them. So
I see.
And so now they're going to be going in. This might be a dead Vigar, but Lisa's too close. Down goes Camille.
Only at the end. I mean,
It's a good item. They're trying to go for Vigar again, and they do get it. Go golden, but the greed. Wait, no way. No. Okay, thank you, Goonball. Take out the spider.
Reese really showing, yeah. Even when I'm caught, I'm not as caught as you think. It's a sneaky spider. I mean, he's definitely playing this really well. But we saw a double shank. He's catching Caitlyn when she's out. Definitely, Cage is going to be thinking twice.
Oh no!
And here we go again.
The ADC experience. Oh no! Oh wait! Oh, you might. Oh no! It's over. There was a hope for an ADC to beat the jungler.
So that's exactly what I was just calling out. Double Shank was definitely ready, and with the ADC down, that's a lot of the threat that they could see here, as well as Reese still only just coming back up.
Something with note that the Manamune from Ezreal just hatched now, so he's going to be doing a ton more damage. Baron going over to them as well with a little bit of a bigger gold to help them out with that gold deficit. So 31 minutes in, people are almost getting to full build slowly but surely. But Kill the Kiwi getting in a lot of damage. Lego's going to see if he can escape, but Goomball coming in with ulti, going to be picking off that Camille. Dragon's coming up. This is going to be big for Sloppy Steaks.
That's the exact type of fight I was worried about them keeping Camille around for. They're kind of looking disjointed for this fight, Imagine Shadow, and Sloppy Steaks said, wait, we're S5, we just got the Baron, we're synced up, just roll in there. This is getting very spicy. Gold is still, just about 2k difference, but as this game goes on, that it's a very minor difference.
Yeah, it doesn't matter who has more kills at that point. Like as soon as it hits 40 minutes, it's like overtime, anyone's game kind of thing. With them stalling out that dragon actually gives them quite a bit more opportunity to find another win con for them. They've only been able to really identify and taken down one tower for the side of Sloppy Steaks, but this might be the time where everyone's slowly coming online and their scaling comp is actually going to be really, really strong.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of ticking for them. I mean, we know Camille is always going to be scaling, but Elise definitely kind of loses if some of her the later the game goes. She has this one-shot potential, but landing these stuns becomes harder and harder.
For sure. Here comes the ulti from the Hecarim, going to get it off range to get it onto that Camille, doing tons of damage. Here comes the Caitlyn ulti as well, is going to be protected by the Hecarim. Going to be trying to see if they can take that one down. Hecarim's going to be landing that kill, but Thresh and Caitlyn are in the backline, going to be doing a ton of damage. Here comes the hero. There comes the Vigar. Tons of damage going down for him. Ezreal is going to be picking off the Elise, and that is going to be another big win. The gold deficit is almost evened out entirely after that big play.
Wow, that was wild. That was so back and forth. Who caught who? Okay, at first it looks like maybe, Kiwi's caught. Then it looks like Goon's caught. He starts losing that trade. Oh, no, it actually turns out, more people from this team are there. More people from that team. This is absolutely crazy. I mean, they're sending the forces all to this lane, and it's kind of revolving around top. What's happening top? Where are these top laners going? And again, I mean, do not be deceived by the 177 Camille. She is still
no,
second highest gold on the team.
That's a big shutdown for Ezreal. That's going to be huge for them. And now they actually have the gold lead themselves. Here comes the Thresh Hook. They're going to see what he can get from there, but he might be overextended. The Vigor does a ton of damage, and they are going to be going further and further into the base. Ooh, that is a... that tank exploded after that Nautilus ran into a Camille there. Are they going to be able to get more, though? Kiwi Dan is going to fall short as Ezreal is going to be picking that one off. Elise is going to be looking for some more damage. Here comes the Shen ulti coming down as well. Reese is going to be in a lot of danger. He goes up and his cocoon goes back down. Is going to be going into the saving grace of Lagos there. And they're going to see if they can possibly get more even end here. But no, it's not going to be another pick.
That Thresh box just, it's such a great kiting tool. We're really seeing for Spar to step it up now. This Ezreal damage is going wild. He's picked up the Essence Reaver, and even with a tank item, Ezreal's damage is high now. Now he's had the time to scale. Of course, Caitlyn's definitely scary, but she kind of needs a few autos to get this lethal tempo going. She needs people to step on traps, which, you know, the hope is to get that done through like Legos hook or something. But we're beginning to kind of see some of the issues there. It's becoming harder and harder for Elise to make something happen. And it's becoming a little bit harder for Legos to make something happen. This very strong pick comp that they had, as the game gets later, is harder and harder to execute on because no one's ever truly alone anymore. With Shen able to fly around, and the rest of the team mostly sticking together, you're not really seeing picks being as hugely viable.
Mm-hmm. For sure. We saw in the river there, Malzahar flashing forward and the Ezreal also flashing away there. Now, two main carries without a means of escape. It's less worrisome on Ezreal because he has E, obviously, but to have the Malzahar, if he ever steps too far forward, you know that Hecarim's going to go up and take him down.
Yeah, and Hyper Expert has some choices to make about who is most worthy of my suppression. There's a lot of threat here.
Oh no, here's the thing I was worried about right now. So the Dragon's going to be coming in 44 seconds, and he's on a 52-second cooldown after being taken down there. Ezreal doing a lot of good poke damage, and this might be another Dragon for Sloppy Steaks, and they could get a potential like soul point themselves.
Yeah, and I mean, even if they stack these 3 mountains, the scaling that adds to your armor and magic resist is, nothing to, throw away. That, I mean, it starts to add up. I think it's about 2.5% per stack, I think. So, I mean, that adds up, especially when you have this huge Shen. We're starting to see Hecarim buy some tank, as well as Nautilus. That's going to make it harder and harder to break through.
For sure. I'm surprised and how the Sloppy Steak team as a whole just kind of flipped this game on its side and turned the tables around to their favor, and they are now accumulating more and more of a gold lead. So
I mean, it feels like this time they were able to weather the early aggression of Imagine Shadow. I mean, Imagine Shadow were still able to get off what they wanted to get off, but Sloppy Steaks kind of held in there a little bit more, took more trades, it felt like, got at least some gold back for a lot of these. And now they're really kind of flexing the late game strength of Vigor, this 40-minute strength of Ezreal. It's actually immense once he gets here.
So what would you say would be the way Imagine Shadows will be able to win the game? Is there a win con still for them, or are they just being choked and taken out?
Well, so I think part of the issue with even what I've been saying is setting Camille in a side lane to fight Shen. While she might beat Shen individually, if the other 4 of Sloppy Steaks go very aggressive, Shen can ult in and make that a 5v4. So I think that might be part of why they're hesitating to send Camille alone. She would have the TP, but you kind of have to feel like Shen would get there first. I still kind of feel like that's their best avenue, but they're able to grab something back there on Gudenball, and now we'll see what they go for.
They'll have to make a play now is the best time, honestly. A Thresh Hook, something's going to have to happen. And it looks like they actually get the pick onto the Vigor. Elise goes golden, tons of damage going down. Are they going to be able to get more? I want to see them probably just pick up this Baron right now. They have a 2-person difference here. So one person is going to go back and clear off those minions. Now the person is going to go and take this Baron here.
Now, so I mean, there's pros and cons to the way Redemption's playing this Vigor.
What a play from the Thresh Hook, actually landing onto the Ezreal, doing tons of damage. Here comes Hecarim in the backline. He's going to be ulted down by the Malzahar. He's going to be taken down as well. Huge for Imagine Shadows. This is exactly what they want. They're staggering the death timers, and they're going to be getting the Baron immediately after.
Does Azrael go for the hero play with Shen on his back? Oh, he's very low.
I don't think he can. That Camille will literally just blow him up.
So, I mean, that is where Imagine Shadows comp excels at picking people off kind of one by one. And as they stagger these death timers, the next pick just has a higher and higher percentage of, working out for them. I was saying Redemption, I like the way he's playing Viger, but it has some pros and cons. He steps very far forward because he's looking for these aggressive plays with the box. And we've seen him catch people and absolutely nuke them. But when he doesn't quite catch them and something catches him back, it's instant him getting popped, and then that's so much of their force is dependent on this box to be able to prevent the picks.
For sure. And that time the coin flip favored Imagine Shadows, like you were saying. So now Sloppy Six back in the oh no, I'm in the hot seat again. They keep changing the tempo around, right? Like, so as that happens, what do you want them to do to kind of counteract this? Kind of play it safe, wait for this Baron buff? What do you expect will happen in the next moments of these games?
So despite the fact that they have the Baron, I still kind of feel like if they send Camille in the solo lane and they try to kind of 1v1 against Shen, if they find the right time to engage on the rest of Imagine Shadow, make it a very quick 5v4 and clean up before Camille arrives, I like that, but it's very risky. Camille's going to teleport almost just as fast. You're only going to have a 2 or 3 second advantage in this. Is that enough? And I don't don't know. It's very scary to pull off. I think right now I would just be playing it safe, but of course Caitlyn is notorious for her sieging power. If anyone steps even an inch too close, Malzahar grabs them. But of course Viger has his cage and stuff as well to kind of deter this. So it's looking scary right now, but something could happen. It's very volatile.
Yeah, this is do or die for them now. Now that the lanes have met up, I don't know what they can do. They gotta find a pick. They gotta do it fast. As Imagine Shadows are just putting their base into shambles here, taking out all 3 inhibitors. They're gonna be trying to see if they can possibly grab a pick. They might disengage. Oh no, flash forward from the Viger. That's gonna be not favorable as they don't even get the kill onto the Thresh. Oh, no, they do. There goes Ezreal. But I don't know what they got to make more kills. They got to make more plays. They got to be risky. But down goes Nautilus as he taken down by the Malzahar. Here goes the Hecarim. One by one, the team will fall as Imagine Shadows take the huge lead. And now they're back in the driver's seat. They're like, all right, we're finishing this off. And with style as they take out a huge team fight to get the this over here. So let's see them slowly pick this one off. Don't dilly-dally. I don't think you can. All right.
It's looking like they're going to close this out. Imagine Shadow with a really strong final fight there to finish first place in your Noxian division. That was a really, really interesting final fight. We saw Redemption. He's really saying, I got to make something happen. He sees that this is impending doom. And he goes for it. You got to have respect for it. And if he did catch him, he would have probably exploded 2 people, but it just barely doesn't click. He still gets damage off on the Thresh, but exposing himself so much, he just goes away so quick. Couldn't even say goodbye. And from there, once Caitlyn has this ability to auto without being in threat, she's stacking lethal tempo. I think now she probably almost has 100% crit, if not. And it starts going downhill. Yeah. But it was a great game, I think, from both of them. We saw both sides kind of flex their strengths. Both teams kind of pushing when they had the advantage, sometimes overstaying and making mistakes. And it kind of feels like that game really could have went either way around that Baron fight. That seemed to be the decider.
Oh, I totally agree. Yeah, both teams, the entire series, they played both really, really well. And I'm impressed to see, and I'm excited to see what they do in playoffs. Obviously, both these teams are going into playoffs, but this series was to decide who would get the first seed, right? So now imagine Shadows coming out on top of Noxian Division, Sabi Sake's coming in second. I'm really excited to see what they're going to do, and I'm hoping that we might even get another grudge match between them in the finals.
Yeah, so I mean, even when you lose one of these, it feels bad, but I mean, now you're feeling okay. I'll meet you in the finals then, and then we'll do this again. Every game against them is more experience of learning what is their play style, and then how did they beat us? How can we shore up those weaknesses? But Imagine Shadow, of course, is thinking the same thing. They know that while they won that game, that was a hard fought win. What do we have to do to kind of overcome what they did the next time? And it was kind of interesting. They really played a kind of a similar style. It felt like very early aggression versus more of a scaling comp. Um, and it seemed like both teams really knew what they were doing. It just kind of came down to some very specific plays that would swing the gold lead and then made it harder to kind of stabilize the game. Really, really awesome games. Pleasure to cast and watch.
Yeah, that was awesome. And with that being said, SEAL community, we are going to be signing off and be heading out for the night there. What a great Noxian division match that we have for you. And we're going to be casting a lot more playoffs for you as well over the weekend. And we will see you guys next time.